House of EdTech, episode 50.
Hi, this is Natalie Krayenvenger.
Hi, this is Angela Watson.
Hey, this is Matt Blackman.
Hi, this is Casey Cohen.
Hi, this is Danny Kennis.
My name is Derek Larson.
Hi, this is Jay Eitner.
My name is Karina Gonzalez.
Hey everyone, this is the EdTech Maestro.
Hi, this is Jennifer Williams.
I'm Jenna Klein.
Hi, this is Jennifer Cron.
Hi, this is Jill Dobronsky.
Hi everybody, this is Jessica Johnson.
I'm Josh Gothier.
This is Casey Bell.
Hi, this is Katrina Keene.
Hi, this is Laura Fleming.
This is LaVonna Roth.
Hi, this is Matt Miller.
Hi, my name is Miguel Kudry.
I am Patricia Brown.
Hello there, this is Rich Kikert.
Hi, my name is Alex Rosenwald.
Hi, this is Sharon Plant.
This is Teresa Steger.
This is Stephanie Ryan.
This is Tim Charleston.
Hey, this is Tom Murray.
I'm Miles.
And you're listening to the House of EdTech with me, Chris Nessie. Welcome to the House of EdTech podcast. I am your host, Christopher Nessie, and the House of EdTech explores how technology is changing the way teachers teach and the impact that technology is having in education. My objectives include discussing technology that is changing our classrooms and schools and sharing tools and tips that you can hear about today and use tomorrow. I talk to teachers, leaders, and creators just like you and have them share their stories. The purpose? Whether you use it or not, technology is changing the way we teach and how our students learn. Thank you so much for joining me here on episode number 50 of the House of EdTech. I am super excited to be sharing this episode. In this episode, we're going to have our EdTech Thought, my EdTech recommendation, and a great conversation that I had with Natalie Krayenvenger, who is a fourth grade teacher. And, well, I'm not going to spoil it. You're going to hear it anyway. So let's just have a good time and do what we do here on the podcast. So before we get into everything, just a couple of things. First, and again, this is episode number 50. And when I started this podcast back in January of 2014, I'm going to be honest with you, I totally knew that I would eventually get to episode 50. I don't mean that to sound vain, and if hopefully you can sense, I do have a big smile on my face, because I knew that this was the way for me to contribute something awesome to education, and it's been a great opportunity for me to be creative and have a lot of fun over the last 2 years. So 50 episodes? Heck yeah, I did it, and thank you for joining me on this journey through education technology and all the recommendations, the interviews, all the EdTech thoughts. It really means a lot to me. And if this is your first episode, well, you've got 49 episodes to catch up on. And that's the beautiful thing about podcasts. You can do that at your leisure. There's no deadline. You do what you do, and hopefully you'll take me with you. So thank you for joining me through 50 episodes. And hey, well, actually, I don't have anything to cheers with, but here's to 50 more episodes. And on we go. Just want to take a moment here at the top of the episode to share a couple of thank yous. First, to Mark Gridnell. He left some awesome feedback and an iTunes review. And Mark had this to say, quote, I have listened to and downloaded almost every single episode of the House of EdTech podcast. Just let me jump in here real quick. What do you mean almost every episode? I'm just kidding with you. Thank you, Mark. Mark goes on to say that I'm an amazing educator on an incredible mission, which I am on an incredible mission. I don't know if I'm an amazing educator. As I say, I'm just a guy. And Mark also says that he was thankful to finally meet me in person at EdCamp, New Jersey, which I was super excited when I got the opportunity to meet and shake your hand, Mark. Thank you so much for the iTunes review, and I look forward to doing some more collaborating in the future, and thank you for listening. And also, I just want to thank 2 new patrons to the podcast. Thank you to Peggy George at PGeorge on Twitter and Dan Gallagher at Gallagher_tech on Twitter for becoming 2 new awesome supporters of the podcast via Patreon. Now, if you want to join Peggy and Dan, all you need to do is go to patreon.com/houseofedtech, and you too can show your support for the podcast. As I always say, this podcast will always be free. But if you feel so inclined and you would like to help out offset some of the costs of me doing a podcast, I would greatly appreciate it. And as Peggy and Dan and Jeff Herb know, I am forever in your debt to continue to create great content to make it worth your while. And I'm glad it's been worth your while to date. So thank you so much to Peggy and Dan for being awesome supporters of the show. So enough about all that. We're right here in the thick of being in episode 50. So let's get right into my EdTech Thought. This episode's EdTech Thought is basically titled Wi-Fi in Schools. I read an article on LinkedIn, and I very rarely, if ever, do that. This might actually be the first one that I read in its entirety. But the point of the post was, should we have Wi-Fi in schools? And here are the reasons why we shouldn't. I think this is dumb. Of course we should have Wi-Fi in schools. As I read this post, the author, who I really don't feel like telling you their name because I just thought the article was in poor taste. Because the article was basically an iBooks author app promotion, but it just went on to say some things about how we shouldn't have Wi-Fi in schools because, well, it distracts kids and our students are being distracted and irresponsible using social media on their devices. Hey, wake up. Guess what? It's our job to teach them how to be responsible and be good digital citizens. And let's not talk about our kids being distracted, because how many of you have sat in a faculty meeting or some meeting or even professional development, and you've been on your phone, you've been on your laptop, or you've just been distracted in any way, shape, or form? I think it's very clear and very evident that at times teachers make the worst students. No offense to me, no offense to you, but we both know it's true. So to say that we shouldn't have Wi-Fi in schools and limit the access to students, that's ridiculous and a bunch of crap. Instead of limiting our students' access to technology, why don't we increase it? As a former guest of the podcast once said, and I'm quoting you, Karina Gonzalez, you said that teaching kids to use the internet and use technology without access is like teaching that same child to swim, but laying in the middle of a parking lot. They need access. So we're not going to turn off the Wi-Fi. There's no reason to turn off the Wi-Fi. Turn it on, give the kids access, give the teachers access, and let's do what's right for kids in education. That's my EdTech Thought. And now for this episode's EdTech recommendation. Today I'd like to talk to you about Voxer. Not regular Voxer. I'd like to talk to you about Voxer, the website. That's right, Voxer has a website. So what you need to do when you're done listening to this show is go to web.voxer.com and log in with your Voxer account credentials, because you can use the website regardless of whether or not you have a pro account or a free Voxer account. You can use the Voxer website to interact and use Voxer. If people send you images, pictures, Bitmojis, you can get those online and you see the chats just as you would on your mobile device. And you can send audio through your computer's microphone, through the browser. It's awesome. It's super easy. One way I've taken my Voxer usage to another level is I will sometimes, when I'm at home, I'll sit right here in the house of EdTech and I'll use the nice microphone and I'll send some of my Voxes to the people that I'm communicating with on Voxer. Now, even if you don't have the good microphone, that's okay, because you can still send and receive the audio through your laptop mic or your computer's built-in microphone. A great application in the classroom for this would be, let's say you have students on Voxer. You can have them submit audio, say in a world language class or a public speaking course, and you can have that audio, view it in the web browser, and you could download it, save it. Kids can capture audio this way. You could post the MP3 files that are generated to your class website, so you could put audio announcements on your website. You can embed them. It's really easy to do. So that's the recommendation. When you're done here, go to web.voxer.com. Voxer. And that's my EdTech recommendation. here in episode 50, I had the very special pleasure of speaking with somebody who I got to meet at ISTE this past summer in 2015 and have connected with through Voxer and also through Twitter. So I'd like to now share with you my conversation with Miss Natalie Krayenvenger, 4th grade teacher from Maryland. All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining us here on the House of EdTech via Skype, I'd like to welcome in Natalie Krayenvenger. She is a former House of EdTech VIP who is currently a 4th grade teacher in Brooklynville, Maryland. She is, of course, a self-described Sherpa of learning. Natalie has taught kindergarten, 3rd grade, and of course teaches 4th grade now at St. Paul's School. Natalie considers herself to be a connected educator, and of course she is. She continues to build her PLN through Twitter, EdCamps, and other forums such as Voxer. She's a co-host of #EdBeat, which we're going to get into, so I'm not going to describe it any more than that right now. She's passionate about other teachers getting excited about technology. She is not afraid to use technology, and we are going to dive into how she explores and uses EdTech in her personal and professional life. And I agree with her because she let me know ahead of time that she is super pumped to now add appeared on House of EdTech to her list of, I believe she just said it as, things that made me giddy. So let's get giddy with Natalie Krayenvenger. Welcome, Natalie.
Thank you, Chris. I know. I feel like that should be like a soundtrack to my thing, Let's Get Giddy with Krayenvenger or something like that. I like it. No, I'm super pumped to be here. I've been a big fan, and I'm super excited to be here.
I am a fan of you because this is all truth, nothing but truth here on the podcast. I'm a fan of yours because you're one of those people who I met through Twitter, and to finally get to meet you in person, face to face during the summer at ISTE in Philadelphia, that was great. And even though I was only there for a day, I felt like we got to spend so much time together over that one day and really got to connect. So being a people person, I really valued making that connection with you. So getting to learn from you before that, during that, and since then has been great for me. So thank you.
No, thank you. I know it was definitely, ISTE was a life-changing experience for sure. And meeting you, I still remember because it was one of those, you feel like it's almost like a wedding because you're running into all these like either like long lost relatives or these different people that you feel like you have this really strong connection with, but you're meeting so many different people, and then all of a sudden I remember I saw you and I was like, hey, and you were like, I'm Chris Nessie, and I was like, oh my god, it's Chris Nessie, and like this big giant hug, and it was just like, some people you just click with right away, and you were definitely one of those people, and it was an amazing experience and opportunity to get to talk to these people who inspire you on a daily basis, but that you don't always, they're not the people we go to work with every day, but we wish we were, if that makes sense.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. And it's a theme that comes up repeatedly on this program where many of the people I talk to, I wish that we all could work together. I mean, how cool would it be for like you, me, Stacy, Matt Miller, Tom Murray,
oh my God,
Rich Kiker to just be like in the same school? That would be fantastic.
I like it. It's almost like it's too much awesomeness. It kind of blows my mind a little bit, but it would be incredible. But I think even though we don't go to walk through the same doors of the same building every day, I do feel like we all work together because we're all working towards the same goal. And we are there for one another in the same way that I can't just pop by next door if I have a question or if I have a concern or I want to bounce an idea, but I can send out a tweet. I can jump into a Voxer group. I can, Skype with you and collaborate. And in a lot of ways, having that space almost sometimes and not being caught up in that daily grind griping, I think sometimes that unfortunately can happen inside the schoolhouse walls. Having your PLN in a way that you aren't working with on a daily basis is actually a blessing.
But you're forgetting one thing. If we put all these all-stars in one school, everything would be awesome. The faculty meetings, the PD.
Very true. Completely agree. And if you can guarantee that we're going to get rid of all those other people and be our own island, I'm all for it.
This is the only circumstance under which I would consider charter schools to be a good thing.
Completely agree with you. I think about that a lot. And on the same, and after I just said all of that, I think that our kids deserve schools that they do feel like it was custom built for them. And they do deserve to have teachers who literally they're not doing necessarily what's always the most comfortable for them, but they're doing what's right for their students. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. So, and I can honestly say that, at least the teachers that I talk with, or the educators I talk with on the most regular basis who are in my PLN, are those types of teachers. They are teachers who, they truly believe in doing what's right for the students. They believe in using best practices. They believe in, growing and growth mindset. And if those are all the people that we get to work with on a daily basis, then I'm all for it. And I think that that's what students deserve.
Now, one of the questions I had for you, or one of the points I wanted to make was, I'm going to assume that you were not a bad teacher before you became a connected educator. So what was your classroom and your career like before you got connected?
I think it's always been a place that is, inviting. The students had a voice. The students were understood. I think that it had a lot more worksheets. I think that a lot of teachers, we go into teaching typically with at least one teacher that we want to emulate. And so I think that a lot of who I was as a teacher before I was connected was based off of amazing, innovative for their time educators that I had growing up and the teachers that made me feel good. And that's who I wanted to be. It wasn't as open to possibility. I mean, I like to think of myself as being a creative person, but there's only so much creativity going on when you are alone versus when you're having conversations with other educators. So I would say that while it was a warm, inviting place, it was education and isolation. So I think that that probably would be, and I was doing the best that I could with what I could, find during the 15 minutes of free time I had of planning a day that I could, go on to Teachers Pay Teachers. Like that would probably be the most I would bring in from the outside would be the things I could find on something like Teachers Pay Teachers.
So you're now connected and
yes.
You're very active on Twitter and, you're active on Voxer. You participate in a number of Twitter chats.
Yes.
In say one or two words.
Oh God.
All right. In 10 words or less, what does being connected mean to you?
I'm choosing my words carefully, and those don't count.
Wait, I make the rules. You're down to like 4 words.
Necessary, empowering, PD, choice. You know how hard this is for me.
At least I didn't say do it in 140 characters or less.
I know, right? I know. I actually probably could do that better right now than sitting here trying to talk it out. I'm in Voxer mode, I think, rather than Twitter mode. Connecting learners and educators and everything. And very sad if it ever went away. Don't know what I would do with myself.
You'd have a lot more free time, I think. At least that's what my wife tells me.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I guess so. Probably. I'd probably just spend more of it in my classroom by myself rather than talking and being inspiring. Can we add inspiring to the list of my 10 words if I haven't already said that?
That's fine. I'm not really going to count the words. I just wanted to really I wanted to focus and empower you.
Yes, thank you.
Now, speaking of Twitter, you participate in chats, but you are also the creator / co-founder of what I think is becoming a very popular Twitter chat, and that is hashtag EdBeat, EDBeat. I've seen it, but I'm not really familiar with it myself, so teach me something.
We are a chat for all educators. We're an inspirational chat. Yes, there are a lot of music references, as Sean and I are very big music people. We love types of music. We love talking about music. And we love music especially because it's a connector for people, much like Twitter is. Everybody can have a reaction to music. And so we like to use it as often as possible to help people have a reaction to the things that we're discussing. But it's also it's a fun way to get people interested. It's a fun way to get involved. But we talk about a wide variety of topics. I also refer to us as a catch and release chat because while we are kind of the greeters, we're the the kooky aunt and uncle that have everybody over to their house and make sure everybody's got plenty to eat and drink and, and gets comfortable. We'll bring in other guest co-hosts to come in. Maybe people who've never hosted a chat before are a little nervous about hosting, but they want to give it a whirl. And we collaborate with them. We build them up. We get them ready. And then they knock it out of the park. And they get a night to absolutely just shine and be really just the life of the party because there's so many amazingly talented individuals who are on Twitter. And so they get to come in, do their thing, and then they kind of go away. And it's time for another person to come and share their, gifts with us. So again, it's a wide variety of topics. We're the cafeteria table that seats everyone. We save, we save space on the dance floor for everyone. We're here to be positive, inspirational, build up teachers. We want to treat every teacher who comes to our chat like a rock star that they are. We've had chats about, last night we said that we were baking everyone an apple pie. So people brought
cute.
all their, thank you, elementary teacher and me coming out. So everybody brought their different apps to share, and then we did it as what's your Granny Smith app, your oldie but goodie, what's your Gala app, your fancy app, what's your Honeycrisp app, the app if you're gonna spend money, this is the one you're gonna spend money on. So it's always with creativity and fun and whimsy, and we don't take ourselves too seriously, but we're not a bunch of goofballs either. I mean, we're trying to make education the positive, amazing calling and profession that it is, and helping, that I don't know if people have seen those, that video on, like YouTube going around where the educators are treated like it's the NFL draft, only it's draft day for teachers. Have you seen this one before?
No, I haven't.
So it's literally like they're calling these teachers in, and they've been number one draft pick for this school, and the teacher comes running in and he's got his hands up and he's all pumped, and this teacher's getting recruited right out of college for, or not right out of college, but he's getting recruited and he's going to get paid, $62 million to teach for 5 years. And he's being treated like this, we are football superheroes and everything. And John and I are kind of we want for an hour on Wednesday nights at 8:00 Eastern Standard Time, we want every teacher to feel like the moment that they walk through that door, that, EdBeat door, that they are the most important person in the world to us. And we're excited to see them and we can't wait to learn from them. And it's just, it's amazing to just kind of sometimes get the feedback the next day or at the end of the chat saying this chat helps me get through the week. I wait for EdBeat. It's Wednesday night. I wish it was Friday, and I get a dose of EdBeat, and I'm ready to finish out my week and to finish it out strong.
Where do you see EdBeat, evolving to? You said it's changed so much since its inception. Mm-hmm. What do you see for it, say, over the next 6 to 12 months?
Oh my goodness. Well, Sean and I talked a lot about that, and we are dreamers in a good sense. I think that the nice thing about us is we dream, but we tend to try to make those dreams come true. We are going to be taking a little bit of time around Christmas off. We would really like to kind of create a space that is a resource and I think like something as simple as like looking to create like a website or a Weebly or something like that, so that there's something tangible that people can go to anytime. We'd love to have a place where we can highlight teachers. We'd love to have a place where, you can get all of your Storify stuff. We also make playlists. So for different chats that we run, we had Jennifer Burtis, who I don't know if you know, she's an American Ninja Warrior, who's also a fourth grade teacher out in California. She came and hosted. She's hosted several times now, but then she also did the EdBeat Edu Ninja Challenge, which was getting teachers fit in October. So it was all month long, and every day she put out a different challenge with different workouts or tips or healthy eating habits or things like that. So it'd be a place to, house information like that we do, but we made playlists to go along with the workouts. We had a back to school playlist that was like, what's the first song you want to play when the kids are walking through the door, day one of school. And we compiled all the songs that people said that they wanted to, that they would play in their classroom. And so we have like a first day playlist. We have an EdBeat soundtrack playlist. So I think it'd be a nice place to house all of our music that we have compiled. I think that we'd like to try to think. I mean, we kind of have done a little bit of everything.
Can I throw a suggestion out there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Only because a lot of your conversation is rooted in music, and music is something that should be listened to.
I think I know where you're going, and we've definitely talked about this, but yes, go ahead.
When are we going to get EdBeat the podcast?
That has been we've been talking about that for that exact same reason, that music, should be listened to. That is on our list, and we would love to do that. And I think that we are getting closer to doing an EdBeat podcast, or doing a bi-monthly EdBeat blab, or
yes. I'm getting excited here.
We like the idea of being able to, again, highlight teachers.
Awesome. You have shared so much great information tonight.
It's too much.
but I want to shift gears a little bit, because you've shared so far what you're doing for other people and how you're making a difference for people you may never even meet personally face to face. So I want to shift and kind of bring it back to you. This is the House of EdTech. So let's talk a little bit about how you're using technology in your classroom, either with your students or how you're using technology for professional purposes that make you a better teacher. What are some of your favorite apps and resources that you use with kids, and also some of the tools you're using as a teacher for yourself to be prepared to teach that great lesson or to go out and do that next great thing as an educator?
Yeah, absolutely. So this year we kind of did a big overhaul in fourth grade. We instituted a new writing program, and at ISTE I ran into Brad Wilson, who is out of Wisconsin. I'm almost positive it's either Wisconsin or Michigan. I feel really badly that I don't know that for sure. But he is a former teacher who created an online writing platform called Write-About. And we are using that this year, and it is it's essentially a secure blog or writing portfolio that you can sign up for. And if your whole school or district signs up for it, your students' writing can be saved and followed, and can follow them from K all the way to 12th grade. It's essentially a place where students can go to be inspired to write about whatever they want. They're coming into fourth grade. Their teachers from third grade said, I really don't know how much you're going to get out of them. They're not writers. They're, yet they're just not, it's really hard for them. I've had kids who now who are posting, at night. I get alerts at 8:30 at night that they've just posted a 3.5-4 paragraph quick writing on Xboxes. And they are full-on persuasive writing pieces saying why the game that they like so much is the best game. They're going home. They told me last night that today during school, that 2 of my boys are talking on the phone to each other as they're writing on Write-About. at night, at home, bouncing ideas off one another and talking about their writing together. I mean, what fourth grade boys call each other at night? I'd never heard of boys doing that before, to talk to each other about their writing. It has all the, all the features that a teacher wants in terms of being able to edit, highlight, and then it also has a voice feedback option so that you can then, because my school is not a Google school. We don't have any Google products. Our kids don't have emails either in fourth grade at my school. So you don't need an email for Write About. You just need a login and a password and a class code, which means that any student with internet access can get into it, which is great. My students are participating in the Global Read Aloud this year, which Pernille Rip started. And for people who don't know, it's essentially that different books are picked every year according to age groups, and you decide what book you're going to read with your students, and you read aloud and you follow a guide so that nobody gets ahead of each other, and you all experience the same book all around the world. Kids all around the world are reading the same books, and they've created and Write About a global read aloud group for each book that's being read for the global read aloud, with prompts that they've created or writing ideas that they've created, and my students are able to then go in and write about this book that we're all reading together, and other students from around the world who are also reading the book can go in and respond to those same prompts. Another one that we learned about this year is Bunsy, or edu.bunsy, which is essentially kind of just another it's another presentation platform, but it's very user friendly, especially on the iPad. And the kids, again, they don't need emails. They just have a login and an ID, or a login and password, and they can add in videos, pictures, audio. They've got stickers. You can email it. You can turn it into a PDF. We're actually doing a presentation tomorrow in our assembly on fairness, and we are using Bunsy to display all these drawings, these illustrations that the kids did displaying fairness, and we've got their voices in the background reading their page of the book that they've written. So you can really use it to one student. My students haven't done this yet, but we saw that one little girl wrote a book using Bunsy. So she was able to put her text in on each page, and then she had illustrations that she drew on each page of the Bunsy, and then it just and then she had her voice reading it. So my students immediately said that they wanted to write books for they have kindergarten buddies in fourth grade. So they all want to write a book for their kindergarten buddies, and they said, oh, and we can record our voices reading the book so that even if they can't read yet, they can hear us reading the book to them.
That is that's a super feature for something like that.
Yeah, so that one's really cool. And Kahoot, I know that's nothing new. I know a lot of people have heard of Kahoot, but my kids, they love it. My kids love it. They cheer each other on. They get excited. They really want to do one for Parent Visiting Day. They want to challenge their parents. We're learning about the branches of government, and they really want to see if they can out Kahoot their parents, which is really fun.
That will be a lot of fun. That's awesome. So just to recap, we have writeabout.com, we have EduBunsy, and Kahoot, which there will be links to all three of these in the show notes if you haven't checked out or heard of these yet. And, thank you, Natalie, for talking extensively about them and giving some great lesson ideas and sharing how you're using it, which that's what we need. That people to share how they're using it to give good examples. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before I let you go, what is one app or web tool or program that you couldn't live without as a teacher?
Oh, geez. Twitter. I mean,
that one's too easy. I want you to think a little harder.
I know. I mean, but it's like it all derives from that. Like that's where I find everything is from Twitter. Oh my gosh.
Well, okay, then when you put it that way, I guess it's okay.
I mean, because
if that's
honestly,
your gateway drug to everything else, then why not?
It is. I wouldn't have found any of the things that I found if it wasn't for Twitter. I really don't think I would have. I think Voxer I really, those are my two that if they told me, I mean, I'd survive, I guess, if they no longer existed tomorrow. But no, I mean, that's both of those are how I learn and grow as a teacher. I'm able to, I'm able to meet a lot of different educators and learn a lot more by being on Twitter. But then through Voxer, I'm able to kind of take those. I always like to say that being on Voxer is like taking your Twitter relationship to the next level. You are able to then delve deeper into topics and issues and talk about things and learn about things and collaborate even more and plan lessons. And we're using Voxer right now for Global Read Aloud with another fourth grade class, and we're asking each other questions back and forth about the book as we're reading. So I mean, in terms of like the apps that I use daily and that my students are able to use as well, because my students tweet and my students Vox. And I think that those are the ones that are, they're what connect us, and they're what continue to help both me and my students grow. So I would say, I know that they're the easy choices. I know that they're the ones, but I also would say that they're great for people who wouldn't necessarily consider them to be tech savvy. I certainly am not tech savvy. I would never claim to be tech savvy. I'm just not scared. And if it fails, it fails. But
time out. Hold on. I'm going to stop you for a second. I want you to repeat. I want you to repeat that again, because I want people hammer that point home.
Okay. So which one? The part about I'm not tech savvy, I'm just not scared?
Yes. I want you to say, give it, hi, I'm Natalie, and go.
Okay. Hi, I'm Natalie. I'm not tech savvy in any way, shape, or form. I'm just not scared.
Boom. That's what it's all about.
Cool.
That's what I'm preaching. I don't want to say preach.
No, I know what you mean.
That's the point of this show. It's, I close every show, using technology is not difficult. Just give it a try, No, don't be scared of it.
Well, that's the whole thing. Like I think that my students have taught me that, because, they're not little kids, they grab an iPad, they start pushing buttons, swipe. It's like, what are we going to do? We're not, you're not going to, unless like all of a sudden somebody slipped me the thing that could blow up the world and inadvertently, like what's the worst thing that happens? You know what I mean? Like I turn it off.
Reboot, reset. Control Z, undo, it's the
exactly. And I'm like, if my 9 and 10-year-olds aren't afraid to give it a shot, I certainly shouldn't be. And I've got to be the one that's leading the way and showing them, like, we take risks and we might fail, and it's okay. We reset, we reboot. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we have to do in life. So I think it's important for us to, teach our children that it's, it's a life lesson. It's not just a tech lesson. It's a life lesson. And, I do. I'm not a tech savvy person. In a lot of ways, my family jokes that I've always been the one to repel technology. If there's something, look at us earlier this evening, right? We had all these troubleshooting we had to do, but we worked through it, and we, got to hang out for a little bit and talk. And I got to do my verbal processing with you, which has been fantastic educational therapy tonight. So thank you very much. I think it's just one of those things where we have to, for where our students are headed in life, we have to take risks. We have to get uncomfortable in order to make sure that not only our students are learning and growing, but we continue to learn and grow as educators.
Absolutely.
So I think
we need to model that for our kids. Now, speaking of, being uncomfortable, and taking risks, how can everybody who's listening get a little bit uncomfortable and connect with you? What are the best places to find your content and reach out and continue to learn and have a conversation with you?
So the best places to connect with me are on Twitter. I am at Krayenvenger, Krayenvenger. On Voxer, I am NKRAYE141. And I have a blog called What's Your Rush? So www.whatsyourrush.net. send a light. I don't know, anything. If you can, I'll respond to anybody who wants to talk education anytime, has a question, needs a pick-me-up, whatever you need. And you can always find me at EdBeat on Wednesday nights, along with my buddy Sean Gaylord at 8 p.m. on Wednesday nights Eastern Standard Time.
Natalie, I'm glad we got to giddy up tonight.
Yes, sir. Giddy up indeed. It's been really fun, Chris. You are so easy to talk to, and this has been an absolute blast. So thank you so much. I cannot thank you enough.
I can't thank you enough because people say no sometimes when I ask them to come on the show. So thank you for saying, yes, they are crazy. Thank you for saying yes. And thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule to make some time for me and my listeners. So thank you so much, Natalie. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I introduce to you this episode's House of EdTech VIP. Congratulations to Lauren Thomas Paquin. Lauren is awesome. She's a 3-4 teacher from Massachusetts, and here's why Lauren is a VIP here on the House of EdTech. She reached out to me via Twitter to let me know that she wanted to learn how to use Twitter more effectively. She is currently brand new to Twitter and is hungry and has a desire to connect with people like you. So I want to help promote Lauren and the fact that she has this hunger and this desire to grow a PLN, learn more about it, and how to use it effectively in her teaching. That is, if that's not the definition of a VIP, I don't know what is. So how could I not make you the VIP, Lauren? Thank you so much for reaching out. I am so glad we're connected, and you need to connect with Lauren. She wants to grow her PLN, so let's help her do this. She is on Twitter at L Thomas Paquin. That's LTHOMASPAQUIN. Connect with Lauren, tell her Mr. Nessie sent you, and let's bring her into this Twitterverse, this Twitter community. Let's accept her. Lauren, you are doing awesome things, and it's only going to get better now that you're going to have so much more exposure to talk to even more people who, like I said in our Google Hangout, are like-minded professionals. So thank you for connecting with me. Congratulations. You are a House of EdTech VIP. Well, folks, after 2 years, and I guess we can say it, and 50 episodes, that's going to do it for this episode of the House of EdTech. I want to keep the conversation going, and the best way to do that is to head over to my website, chrisnessie.com. That's Nesi. Over on the website, you can view the show notes for this episode number 50, and be sure to connect with all the people who I've mentioned in this episode. Go connect with Natalie, connect with Lauren, connect with Peggy and Dan. Thank you guys for contributing and being a part of this episode. I would love your thoughts on the information and resources that I shared in this episode. You can leave a comment on the show notes. You can also email the show, and the email address is feedback@chrisnessie.com. You can also submit audio feedback by calling the House of EdTech listener line, and the number, as always, is 732-903-4869. And please connect with me on Voxer. My username is Mr. Nessie, and that's also the same username where you can find me on Twitter. If you send out a tweet, please use the hashtag House of EdTech so I can see it and share it and spread the word about the podcast. If you've enjoyed listening to this episode and you enjoy listening to the podcast, do me a favor. Go tell somebody else about the show. That is the best way to help spread the word, grow the community, and share what you're enjoying. So, go tell somebody. Go on. When you get out of the car, when you're done blowing the leaves, go tell somebody else about this show. The other thing you can do if you enjoy the podcast is to rate and review this show in iTunes. A 5-star rating and a positive review, if I deserve it, is another way to help promote the podcast in iTunes and get it in front of more people to discover and enjoy. The next episode of the podcast will be the 2015 House of EdTech App Smackdown. I'm going to be releasing episode number 51 on December 20th, 2015. And it's going to be a jam-packed episode full of basically just House of EdTech recommendations from you, the listener. As you listen to this on December 6th, if you still want to submit something to the podcast for episode number 51, and it's not past December 18th or 19th, please submit it. Call the feedback line, send it to me on Voxer, record yourself, and maybe send me an MP3 file. There's still time if it's not, say, the 18th or the 19th. So let's stuff this episode full of awesome things. The only thing, make sure you listen to last year's so there are no repeats. Until then, thanks again for making the House of EdTech part of your life and your learning. Remember, using technology isn't difficult. Just give it a try. The House of EdTech is a proud member of the Education Podcast Network. The Education Podcast Network. Podcasts for educators, podcasts by educators. For more, go to edupodcastnetwork.com.